Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And before we dive into this massive and very surprising update, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications, because this is one of those developing stories that could directly impact your money, and you don't want to miss a single update as this situation continues to unfold. Right now, a lot of people across the United States are doing a double take after comments made by President Trump that have reignited serious conversation around $2,000 stimulus-style checks. This is not speculation pulled from thin air or internet rumors circulating on social media. These comments came directly from the president himself during a nationally aired interview, and what he said has left analysts, economists, lawmakers, and everyday Americans asking the same question: is this actually about to happen? During this interview, President Trump openly stated that he may move forward with sending $2,000 payments, not just to certain groups, but potentially to the entire U.S. population. That alone sent shockwaves through political and financial circles, because up until now, most discussions around these checks focused on low and middle-income Americans. But suddenly, the scope appears much larger than anyone expected. The moment that really caught people off guard was when the president referenced a recent payment to the military. He explained how he approved a $1,176 payment for service members, emphasizing the historical significance of the number and how important it was to him to take care of the military. Then, almost casually, he suggested that a similar idea could apply to the entire population. That one sentence instantly changed the entire conversation. Analysts quickly began dissecting what this could mean. Some believe the president is laying the groundwork for a broad-based financial payment plan, while others argue this could be more of a political signal than a finalized policy. Either way, the fact that the idea is being discussed at this level has made it impossible to ignore. In the same interview, the president was asked directly about the source of funding for these potential $2,000 checks. His answer was clear and consistent with what he has said before. He pointed to tariff revenue, stating that the U.S. is bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars and that this money could be used not only to help pay down national debt, but also to issue what he described as a dividend to the American people. What really escalated the debate was his statement that Congress might not even be required to approve these payments. That comment alone sparked immediate pushback from lawmakers and constitutional experts. As many people know, Congress holds what is called the power of the purse, meaning it traditionally controls federal spending. So when the president suggested he could move forward without congressional approval, it raised serious legal and procedural questions. Despite that, President Trump appeared confident, saying he believes he has the authority to do it and that the sheer volume of tariff revenue makes these payments possible. He also mentioned that there could be income limits, though during the NBC interview, he went a step further by floating the idea of expanding it to the entire population. This is where things get even more interesting. Earlier statements from the president suggested these checks would target low- and middle-income Americans, which is fairly consistent with previous relief efforts. But now, the idea of universal payments has entered the discussion, and that dramatically increases both the cost and the political implications. Timing is another major question mark. The president first raised the idea of these $2,000 checks back in mid-2025. Since then, the timeline has shifted multiple times. At one point, he suggested payments could arrive toward the end of the year. Later, he hinted that mid-2026 might be more realistic. Now, with midterm elections approaching, some analysts believe the timing could be strategically linked to rebuilding trust with voters who are struggling financially. Inflation remains a major concern for millions of Americans. Housing costs, groceries, healthcare, and utilities are still stretching household budgets thin. That's why this conversation around $2,000 checks resonates so strongly. For many families, that amount could mean catching up on rent, paying down debt, or simply breathing a little easier for a month or two. Democrats have responded with mixed reactions. Some support the idea outright, arguing that Americans deserve relief after years of financial pressure. Others question whether the funding mechanism is realistic and whether bypassing Congress would stand up in court. Republicans, meanwhile, are also divided, with some praising the idea of returning tariff revenue to taxpayers and others raising concerns about long-term fiscal responsibility. Another key issue is whether the United States actually has enough available funds to send $2,000 to every adult in the country. A universal payment would cost hundreds of billions of dollars, and while tariff revenue is substantial, critics argue it may not be enough to sustain such a massive payout without consequences elsewhere in the budget. Still, the president has not backed away from the idea. In fact, he continues to bring it up in interviews, keeping the conversation alive and ensuring that Americans are paying attention. That alone suggests this is more than just a passing comment. For now, there is no official bill, no finalized plan, and no confirmed payment date. But what we do have is repeated confirmation from the president himself that he is seriously considering it. And in politics, repeated messaging often signals intent. So the big questions remain. Will these $2,000 checks actually happen? Will they be limited by income or extended to everyone? Can the president legally move forward without Congress, or will lawmakers step in to challenge it? And perhaps most importantly, when would Americans actually see this money if it does move forward? I want to hear from you. Do you think the president has the authority to send these payments without congressional approval, or do you believe this must go through Congress no matter what? Do you support the idea of a $2,000 check, especially with inflation still affecting everyday life? If you support the $2,000 check, go ahead and type, "I support the $2,000 check" in the comments right now. Let your voice be heard, because if people stay silent, nothing ever changes. And if you have questions or want clarification on any part of this story, drop them in the comments, and I'll do my best to respond. As always, thank you so much for watching. If this update helped you understand what's really going on, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with anyone who might need this information. I'll keep tracking this story closely and bring you updates as soon as anything changes. I'll see you in the next video very soon.